Welcome to today's Explainer. Go ahead and settle in, because we're embarking on a journey that literally transcends time to explore one of the most profound mysteries of human existence. We're looking into an incredibly famous and deeply resonant story from ancient Indian philosophy, originally laid out in the sacred text known as the Kathopanishad. It's a powerful, epic tale all about truth, the enigmatic secrets of mortality, and the ultimate quest for self-knowledge. Let's explore the extraordinary story of a young boy named Nachiketa. Part 1. Vajrashravas's incomplete charity. Okay, let's dive into this. Our story kicks off a very long time ago with a revered sage named Vajrashravas. Now, he was performing a grand sacrifice, a massive religious ritual that basically required him to give away all of his worldly possessions as the ultimate act of charity. But instead of parting with his actual valuable wealth, he started donating these incredibly old, frail, and weak cows. We're talking animals that couldn't even give milk anymore. Well, observing all of this was his young son, Nachiketa. Nachiketa was a fiercely intelligent and truth-loving kid. He watched his father doing this and immediately realized, this kind of superficial sacrifice is just fundamentally wrong. It completely missed the whole point of the ritual. And it's this very realization that sets the stage for a massive narrative conflict that still echoes today. Driven by his deep, unwavering love for the truth, Nachiketa walked right up to his father and kept asking him a very pointed question. "Father, to whom will you give me?" He asked this over and over, really trying to get his father to see the utter hypocrisy of his so-called charity. Finally, pushed to the absolute edge, his father just snapped. Shouting with a booming, thunderous voice, he proclaimed, "I give you to Yama, the god of death." It was a furious, thoughtless curse in the heat of the moment, but those heavy words forcefully exiled our young hero out of the world of the living, straight into the underworld. Moving on to part 2, At the Door of Death. 3 entire days and 3 entire nights. Now, most people, especially a young kid, would have run away absolutely terrified. But Nachiketa, he was cut from a different cloth. He took his father's angry curse as an absolute binding truth. He literally walked right out of the mortal world and marched straight up to the imposing doors of Yama's realm, the realm of death itself. But when he arrived, there was a major twist. The formidable god of death wasn't even home. He was absent. So what did the boy do? He waited. For 3 whole days and nights, this kid sat there, completely motionless, at death's door, without a single drop of water or a crumb of food. I mean, just imagine the sheer, unbelievable willpower of this child waiting patiently in the shadows for death himself to return. Which brings us to Section 3, Yama's 3 boons. And this brilliantly illustrates the ancient Indian code of hospitality, because when Yama finally did return after those long days, he was completely shocked. He realized he had kept a Brahmin guest waiting at his doorstep without any food or welcome, and back then that was considered a profoundly grave sin. So to make up for this terrible lack of hospitality, the powerful god of death offered the young fasting boy 3 boons, 3 extraordinary wishes. Nachiketa, speaking with a remarkably calm and steadfast voice, made his first 2 choices very wisely. For his first boon, he simply asked that his father's anger would subside and that he be welcomed home with love. Yama granted this instantly. For his second boon, Nachiketa asked for the knowledge of the grand sacrifice that leads directly to heaven. Yama taught him this complex science, and out of immense respect, declared that from then on, this heavenly fire sacrifice would be famously known forever as the Nachiketa Agni. Section 4. Life's most difficult question. Now, we've reached the critical turning point of our explainer. Nachiketa still had one final boon left. He had already secured peace with his family, right? And he ensured his place in heaven. But he didn't use this last wish for personal gain, or massive wealth, or immense power. Instead, he decided to ask for the ultimate philosophical secret. He looked right at the Lord of Death, and with a clear, piercing, and profoundly calm voice, he asked, "What happens after a person dies? Does the soul still exist, or is it entirely destroyed?" I mean, wow, this was the ultimate question. A mortal child standing right in front of Yama, fearlessly demanding to know the ultimate secret of the very domain Yama ruled over. Yama was completely taken aback. There was absolutely no way he wanted to reveal this cosmic secret to a mortal. So he tried his absolute best to distract the boy. Look at the stark contrast here. On one hand, Yama is offering him unimaginable wealth, massive global kingdoms, a supernaturally long life, and endless momentary pleasures. But on the other hand, you have Nachiketa's absolute resolve. He looked at all those glittering, mind-blowing temptations and just flatly refused them. He knew that all physical pleasures are strictly temporary. He basically told Yama, keep your chariots, keep your wealth, keep your dances. I only want to know the absolute truth. And that leads us to Section 5, the secrets of immortality. Seeing the boy's unshakable, rock-solid determination, Yama realized something. Nachiketa was a true, worthy seeker. He was finally ready to impart the ultimate wisdom. Yama began to teach the young boy the profound secret of the soul and the universe. Speaking with deep cosmic reverence, Yama explained the concept of the Atman, the soul. He revealed the ultimate truth. The soul is completely immortal. While our physical body eventually perishes, it ages and it fades away, the soul simply does not. It is never born and it never dies. Yama taught that whoever truly understands and realizes this undeniable truth becomes entirely free. Knowing this reality liberates a person from the endless, exhausting cycle of birth and death. Now, I want to step back for a second and talk directly to you about how this applies to our modern everyday lives. Yama explicitly stated that lasting happiness is not found in external objects. It's exclusively found in self-knowledge. Think about how we live today. We're constantly chasing the next big promotion, the newest tech gadget, a bigger bank account, all those external objects that Yama offered as temptations just to distract Nachiketa. But those only bring a fleeting, momentary thrill, don't they? True, unshakable happiness? That only comes from within. It comes from understanding who you truly are, way beneath the surface. Finally, Section 6, the story's immortal message. So the crucial point is, what do we actually take away from this epic encounter between a child and death itself? Because this isn't just some old myth. It's a profoundly deep psychological and spiritual framework. Let's distill the core takeaways from Nachiketa's incredible journey into 5 pillars of wisdom from the Kathopanishad. First up, firmness for the truth, standing your ground exactly like Nachiketa did. Second, actively choosing deep knowledge over those fleeting, momentary pleasures we just talked about. Third, embracing the profound realization that the soul is immortal. Fourth, recognizing that true knowledge, imparted by a wise guru or teacher, is the absolute supreme wealth. And finally, achieving total victory over the fear of death through that very knowledge. This right here is exactly why Nachiketa remains the absolute ideal seeker of truth in the Indian tradition. And so we arrive at the very end of our explainer with a question. It's a question that echoes straight from the ancient halls of Yama right into our lives today. Are you endlessly chasing momentary pleasures, or are you actually searching for lasting truth? Take a real moment today to think about your own path. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Kathopanishad. Keep seeking and keep